So, Scott, Tyler, thank you so much for joining me for what I think is arguably the most important story going on in the Orlando bubble right now. And not enough people are talking about it. The referees have started a pickleball league. Is that correct?
I wouldn't call it a league, but it's a grudge match every day. So we're not keeping standings or anything like that, but we play every day, and we have had over 23 referees out of the 45 here in the bubble, and then probably another 15 people outside the referee staff come. And the one court we have that we built is overcrowded now, so we got to figure out what to do for the rest of the bubble.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I want to back up for a second. For those of people at home who don't know what pickleball is, which I think there might be a few. Can you explain what this game is?
Okay, so pickleball is a combination of tennis, ping pong, racquetball, any paddle or racket sport you could think of, played on a 44 by 20 court, which is about a third or a fourth of the size of the tennis court. So the game's much faster. It doesn't hurt your joints as much, but you get a great sweat in, a great workout in, and it's really good because you're closer when you're playing. You can have a lot more conversations, very social, and it's the fastest growing sport in the United States. So it's just a lot of fun, and it's very addicting. It's something you can't perfect. So it's just something that once you play, you're kind of hooked.
So who's been the ringleader here? Scott, did you bring it? And Tyler, how did you get into this?
Yeah, this is Scott's game. So Scott's been doing this on the road for a couple years now. And so This was kind of discussed when we knew the bubble was coming, and we were kind of talking about, how are we going to, what are we going to do during all this downtime that we have? And so Scott brought the net, he had paddles, balls, and this courtyard, which kind of set up in this like perfect location. Yeah, the tape, which was important. So it's I think the moment we got out of quarantine, the net was up pretty quickly, and then we kind of all started, playing just to kind of see it, because Scott's been talking about it for a while, and so it's grown, and the competition continues to get, I think, better on a daily basis.
I love it.
It used to be I could beat these guys pretty much with my one hand tied behind my back, and now they're right with me, and the games are really, really good every day. So they're getting really good. I would say they're between 3.5 and 4.0 level now, which is pretty high for guys who've only been playing 3 weeks. They're all very athletic. And they're
Wow. So you say that you're not keeping standings, but I'm assuming, you're competitive guys. Everyone kind of knows what the standings are in your head, right? Like there's.
So we have the Bub City Rec Department here, hosted by our commissioner, James Capers. And he's got the rankings for every single game sport we play. So we have ping pong rankings, we have golf rankings, we have pickleball rankings, we have horse and shooting rankings and all that. So I share with him what I think the rankings are. Currently, Tyler's a strong number 2 here behind yours truly. And then Josh Tiven is third. And then we have some non-staff guys that we don't allow them to have official national rankings. But we have guys like Zuri Pavlin and Ben Dobson, who are they work in a support capacity for the NBA or with the teams as stat guys or whatever. We have camera guys, you name it. So we've kind of done a little bit of ranking. That's built some of the competition, and people are trying to win. We just had a match out here between the Goebel brothers, who are referees in the NBA, against Kane Fitzgerald and Brian Forte. And had Brian and Kane not pulled it out, the Goebels would have been going up the ladder to in the top 10. But the Goebels choked, and now Kane and Brian Forte's rankings they're good. They're gonna stay in the top 10.
Wow. So tell me, guys, what's the trash talk like? Are you betting on games? Like, how serious is this getting?
We're not
betting.
You're like, we're not betting on games.
No, but like, look, we want to win. So like, me and Josh played together. We were playing Scott this morning. We got smoked early. We came back like we were
wait. We got pickled. We got
beat 11-0, but we came back. And won 12 or what, 13-11, 12-10. So, yeah, when you get the good, the problem is there's so many people playing. And so sometimes some of the games, get a little bit watered down because you have newer people. But when we get people that are like top 5, 6 kind of all together, like it gets super competitive. And in the game, you can just feel like your heart rate gets a little higher, like the game is a little bit more intense. And I mean, there's a couple shots that you hit. There's some yelling. There's some screaming. So there's some eye rolling. I mean, we're all very competitive people. So yeah, it's definitely we're definitely going at it.
So while we're out there, it's kind of an idea. Tyler has a whoop on, and he burns like 15 to 2,000 calories. So these guys are taking their shirts off like it's Top Gun because they go through their shirts. I'm an older guy, so I keep my shirt on. So my whole thing is to see how many red marks that we can put on their body by smashing the ball into their stomachs and chest. And so Josh Tiven yesterday had a tough day. It almost looked like smiley faces of like red, like ice cups going around.
He's got like 5 welts on his stomach.
Yeah, he had 5 welts. Looked like he got stung by a bunch of wasps. So it's a good day.
That's amazing. I had friends in college who, like, for fun, would just hit ping pong balls at each other with their shirts off. So it's good to know that guys never grow up. We love to see it. So who's a rising star to watch out for? Obviously, you guys are both real good. Is there anyone who's been a dark horse that surprised you?
Tyler, you probably. I mean, I'm trying to think of the guys. There's guys out there that really want to be that guy, but they're just not quite getting it done.
So what about the players? Like, what about
minus Petritis, G, as we finally call him, comes to the court every day, and we make fun of him for his last place ranking, but he's getting better. He's almost better than the chair that's sitting next to the court. But no, he's getting better. JV is very competitive. He's one of our younger referees. He's leaving the bubble today to become a replay official. So his ranking's going to be just destroyed from that. But yeah, he's out there right now working on his game. The Goebel brothers will not play with anybody else except themselves, and that's a problem. But they are getting better, and I mean, they almost cracked the top 10 today. So I guess the Goebel brothers for me would be the dark horse rising stars of the league.
If Ben Taylor would get out of bed, I think he could be pretty good. He's got good tennis skills, but like he's not out of bed before 11 any day. Ray was doing well, and then he left. He just left. So I think what happens is that like the top 6 or so just keep kind of getting a little bit better. We also play a little bit more than everybody else. So yeah, we're beginning to have more separation.
The biggest thing is we are here for 90 days, and our first thing to do here is referee. And then we're looking for things just to kill. And those days that we referee, like Tyler said, are 10-hour days. You know, we go to work, we prepare for work, we go to work, come home from work, do the post-game reports, watch the video, and by the time you're done all that, it's been about 10 hours. So, but then when you're done that, you have, you know, for instance, if I were to work late in the finals, not saying I will, but if I were, I would be here till, you know, mid-October, and I'd work a total of maybe 21 games over those 90 days. So 69 days, you know, we'll do some tape review and that sort of thing, but that still leaves a lot of downtime. And you can play golf once a week or whatever, but we had to find something other than do to sit around the pool and swim in laps. So this has been a great pastime for all of us, and it's cool to watch it grow. We've had Lisa Salters come out. She came by like 4 days, and she watched us, and she was like the kid who was, you know, just new to the neighborhood, and she's looking around like, I wonder if I can play. And then she jumped in one day, and she's really good. And then Mark Stein came for a few days, and then after a while, he was like waiting for us to get there, and we were like, okay. And then, you know, there's all these new people that come to play. It's cool to meet them, and then, you know, let them a little bit into our world. So it's fun.
That's so great. So it seems like you have a very inclusive situation. Have any players come by? Have any guys stop by? What is the relationship? What is it like to be living, you know, in the same place with the guys you're reffing every day?
Yeah, I mean, from the player standpoint, we really don't see them. I mean, I know that we're inside the same bubble, but their hotel is kind of situated where it's kind of on the other side of the property. So from a player standpoint, I don't even see them walking that loop. We cross paths on our way to our meeting room, which is where our meals are and where we have meetings collectively. But there's been some coaches that have kind of just, you know, waved and stopped and, you know, had interest. I know there's a couple pickleball games going on with some other staffs and stuff, but I think overall, and especially as we get into this week, you know, I think everybody understands the professional lines, and, you know, we try to limit, you know, the amount of socialization that happens just to, you know, try to remain as professional as possible.
Of course.
And the other thing about the players is you know, they are working. They're working on their games here at the bubble. We go by the practice facilities on our way to our mess hall, basically, and you can hear the squeaking feet in every single practice facility. So there's like 4 or 5 gyms in these ball rooms, and they have practice floors down. And every day from 7 in the morning till 11 at night, if I walk by to go down to our meeting room, you hear them in there working on their games, or they're at practice. So they're just, getting up shots, whatever they are doing. So their schedule's not quite like ours is, where they don't have the kind of downtime we have. They're getting a lot of work in here. So, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it goes back and forth between just like very, very intense work time and then, downtime where, adult summer camp kind of shows up. If you could draft.
I did adult summer camp because I've likened to this, and we've been walking back from dinner, and Tyler's like, man, this feels like when we were 9 years old going to baseball camp or basketball camp or some summer camp, just hanging with your buds and doing all these activities. But don't tell our wives.
No. You're all working very hard. Okay, one more question. If you could draft one coach from the whole league to come join your team, or rotate in as your partner, who would it be?
Go ahead, Tyler. I have in mind. Am I trying to hit balls at him, or am I trying to have him on my team because I think he'd be a good teamate?
Either answer, Scott. Either answer.
Play against. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Tyler.
No, go ahead. I'm still thinking.
If I wanted to win a game in pickleball tomorrow, and it was Tyler versus his coach and me against my coach would be Quinn Snyder, because I know he's from Washington, where the sport of pickleball was invented or discovered, and he played as a child. And he's actually come by 3 times, kind of peeking over the fence, seeing if maybe he can get in the game, which he knows he can't, because again, we're trying to keep that separation. But he's asked me about, hey, if we played at the Utah Jazz, what kind of paddle is good nowadays and whatever. So my teammate would be Quinn Snyder, and we would crush Tyler and.
Yeah, Quinn's gonna be my lean. I have no idea if he can play, but I'm just trying to think of younger and athletic. I'll take Scott Brooks and see if the two.
That's not young.
Dude, he's younger comparatively, so we'll see what we can do.
I would have gone with Eric Spoelstra if I was you, but whatever.
Yeah, that was my backup.
I love it. Well, listen, if there's ever a world in which you can make that happen, we'll get a broadcast crew down there. We'll get it going.
Tyler and I we're ready to take on all comers from the coaches or players side. We've been kind of waiting over there, but they're just not.
I know Dallas has a game. It was on social media. Mike said something about it the other night during the game. Like they think that they have some real pickleball going on. The social media would say otherwise, but it is fun that they're playing as well.
There's that trash talk.
We call them bangers. We're pickleball players over here. They're bangers. So, yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it.